All good. So yeah, um, they said that in Europe they have such thing as object-oriented analysis and design, which is a clever way of breaking up software program into instruction and data into a small reusable object based on certain abstraction principle and design hierarchy. So remember this. The main pillar of object-oriented is basically um, as abstraction, okay, inheritance, encapsulation, okay, and I think that's about it. Okay, so computer program. What is computer program? The computer program is basically a list of instruction for computer on how to perform a given task, right? Whether it's in explicit way or in detailed way. Okay, so algorithm, right? I think most of you guys have heard about algorithm before. Right. So algorithm is actually a step-by-step procedure that defines a set of instruction that must be carried out in a specific order to produce a desired result. Okay. So um, basically in every programming you will need to have an algorithm on how you want to tackle your problem, or how you want to run your program. Okay, so it could be developed independently from any program language, right? So any programming language will use an algorithm to solve a problem. Okay, so behind the screen of your program, you will have a heap, specifically in Java. Okay, you have a heap, stack, garbage collection, application runtime. Okay, so in Java, the instruction to the computer on completing task should be inside of method. Okay, so I think I already mentioned to you guys, everything must be run inside a method. Okay, notice if you, I think one of the lab session that I miss, um, I declare um, a scanner outside of the class, or the main method, the program will um, run to an error. Okay, so make sure you know that every instruction to the computer on completing task should be inside a method in Java. Okay, okay, run Java application. Java is looking for a particular method called the main method. Okay, so I already mentioned to you guys before, in a single Java class, okay, you will have main class and you will have a main method, right? So remember the static uh, main, string, argument, and etc. That is the main method in Java. Okay, it is a starting point of every Java application. Okay, so two memory allocation or RAM are allocated to successfully run a Java application. Okay, so every Java application will have two memory allocation, right? The first one is stack. Okay, so all the method will be located in stack. Okay, all your method that you declare in your Java program will be stored um, in stack. In heap, it will maintain an object lifecycle. For example, when you declare a scanner object from another library, it will store it in the heap. Okay, okay. Java programming in OOP, right? So organizing code is basically a way of programming, right? Object oriented is a way of programming. So um, outside of object oriented, there's others method of way of programming, but the most famous one and the most um, proven is object oriented uh, way of programming. So object-oriented is not dedicated to Java only. Okay, it's the way of programming. You can see object-oriented is being implemented in a framework like Java. Framework like Laravel, right, for PHP, and you will see object-oriented being implemented in um, Node.js, right, or Express.js framework for JavaScript. Okay, so all of that using object-oriented, way of programming. So it's not just Java or C Sharp. You can find object-oriented in PHP, JavaScript, or even Python, right? If you use a framework called Flask in Python, it use object-oriented. Okay, so it's a better way of programming. Okay, to organize a long and complex list of instruction into a blocks. Okay, or into a method, right? Method is a name block of instruction to organize a list of instruction, right? So in OOP, a method is program procedure that is defined as part of a class, and it is available to any object instantiate from that class. So remember when we do the first lab exercise, right? We use scanner, right? So scanner is an object that is being instantiate in your main class, right? And we use the method in the scanner. Um, for example, we declare scanner as input, and input dot next double, input dot close, input dot next integer, right? So all those dot input dot something is actually a method that is part of scanner class. Okay, so that we can use it when we instantiate it in our class. We can use all the attribute. Okay, class is a container of method. Okay, and a method is container of instruction on what to do and how a program should perform. So basically, when in a program we have the first one is the class block, right? So if you write a Java, okay, you create a class file, right? So in a class file, in a one single program, you will have one class file only. That's the best practice. Okay. In one file also you can have multiple class in one file, but the best practice in OOP is to have one file in a single, one class in a single file, right? Okay, so in a single class you will have multiple methods. You can have multiple method or function in it. Okay, so in the method you will have all the instruction that you want to have in your program. For example, in our main method, we print out a line, we capture an input from a user, we do a calculation. So everything is being done in method, right? If you put it out of the method, it will, the program will catch an error. Okay. So let's see on some of the use case of algorithm. Okay. So if you want to change, let's take changing a flat tire into example of a scenario. Okay. So you have over here, you have like 14 steps, right? Okay. So take this as in traditional programming like C++, you'll need to write your code line by line, right? You need to write instruction number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 until up to instruction number 14. Okay, but in object oriented, okay, this can be classified as a can you can split it and classify as parts of the task to change the tire, right? For example, over here, item 1 and 2, you can group it into a parking, right? So which means pull over the vehicle, open the car trunk is a step for parking your car or get ready to change your tire. Okay, then item number 3 up to item number 5, you can classify it as getting the tools to change the tire. Right, for example, you locate the wrench, head over the flat tire, loosen the board, right? Place a jack underneath the vehicle, right? So for step number 6 up until number 13, okay, is actually you change the tire, right? You group it as a changing the tire, right? The actual work that you want to do, so that you can easily call it, right? So the last one, when you finish up, or you after you tighten your bolt, you can remove the jack and put them in the vehicle trunk and mark this or group this as a storing the tools, right? So notice that from 14 steps, we group it up until 4 types of group, right? We have parking, getting the tools, changing the tires, storing the tools, right? So over here, you can see it is more organized, right? So you have this instruction for parking, you have instruction for getting the tools, you have instruction for changing the tire, and you have a step to storing the tools, okay? So it is more, you can see it is more organized, okay? It's easier to understand, okay? And it is reusable, okay? By mean reusable is, let's say if you want to change a motorcycle, right? So motorcycle, you will not have a trunk. Maybe you will have another method of parking. Okay, for example, you will have motorcycle parking, but you can still can use the getting the tools and changing the tire step, right? um, uh, but not parking, right? So in your code, you only need to write one new code only, right? The two and the remaining of the, or at least two of the class is already been taken care of, because all the steps are pretty much the same, right? So the main method we call number 1, parking method. Okay, and number 2, getting the tools, changing the number, and number 3 is changing the tire, and number 4 is storing the tool, right? So let's see, OOP. OOP is defined as programming paradigm, okay, not specific to any language. So as I mentioned previously, object oriented is not uh, it's based on programming language, right? It is the way of you code your program. Okay, build on the concept of object. For example, a set of data contained in fields and code indicating procedures. Okay, instead of function and logic. Okay, okay, it's all about object. So, for example, over here you have object of an apple. Apple will have its attribute, right? For example, the attribute of this apple is red, right? You can also have an apple with attribute of green, because we have green apple. And some of the method of the apple could be eaten, right? Because apple can be eat, right? Can be consumed by human, right? So let's see uh, on this pencil object, right? So pencil object could have multiple attributes. For example, um, color of the pencil, right? So green, blue, yellow, and the method of the pencil, for example, is can be used to write, right? Because pencil is used to write. So basically, the method of the pencil in a Java program is can be written or can be used to write, right? Okay, see, you can see the difference between apple and pencil over here, right? So that is the basically the terminology of uh, object oriented, right? So you have an object or you have a class, Okay, object is basically a class, right? In a class, for example, here we have class of apple. In apple, we have attribute of the class could be the color of the apple, the leaf color, okay, and the method of the apple can be eaten or, directly, or can be cooked, right? So eaten and cook is basically the two method of an apple, right? Okay. So five rule by Alan Kay. I'm not sure who is Alan Kay, but I think this is some people that have good knowledge on OOP, or maybe the people that um, founder of the OOP, right? So everything is in an object, right? So everything will be in a class, right? If you if you think of writing a Java program, everything will be in a class file, right? A program is a set of objects telling each other what to do by sending message. Okay, so a program basically, remember that when we use a lab 1 exercise, okay, is a set of object. Okay, remember we have the main class that you created, then you call a scanner class within a Java library. You instantiate it and telling the scanner object to use their function, basically sending a message, okay, within the um, class, right? Each object has its own memory made up by other object. So as I mentioned before, I think it is in stack, right? Stack. Sorry, it's in heap. Okay, store in a heap. Okay, every object have a type. Okay, all object of a specific type can receive the same message. Okay, so the object concept. Okay, an object is encapsulation of data, right? So encapsulation is basically to hide the data from. So you might want to expose certain types of data in only. Okay, but for example, if you create a um, class of, for example, um, let's say if you want to calculate a circle, right? You might just need a user to input the radius, okay, and only a radius, right, to calculate a circle. So the others attribute like the formula itself, you don't need the user to tamper with, right? As I mentioned before, um, you will have a constant data type to protect your um, value, right? Constant value, or make it as a private so that others class cannot tamper with the data, because once the formula value is being tampered, the calculation might be wrong, right? So the only thing that you need from the user is just a radius of the circle. So only the radius of the circle user can see or can play with, right? So that is so others like formula or all the actual calculation you will keep within that particular class. So that is example of encapsulation, right? Of data. Okay. So an object has identity, okay, a unique reference, state, also called characteristic, behavior, uh, called its method, right? So the behavior of the object or the behavior of the class um, is basically the method itself, right? So it's determined by method in the class, right? So for example, like an apple example previously, right? So behavior of the apple is can be eaten or can be cooked, right? So apple can be, the behavior of the apple is can be cooked or can be eaten, right? So That is one of the example, right? So an object is an instance of an abstract data type. Okay. Okay, object is an instance of abstract data type or instance of a class. Basically, it is an instance of a class. Okay, an abstract data type is implemented via class. As I mentioned before, an object is instance of an abstract data type. An abstract data type is basically is a class. So you need to remember that object is basically based on class, right? You call an object, that object must be a class, right? So that if there is no class, the object will not be exist, right? So basically, an object we call a class in a library or in other your Java file, right? To instantiate in your um, Java file that you want to use it. Okay. Okay. An object is real world physical, uh, for example, like door, car, person, okay, or conceptual entity like account, transaction that provide an understanding of the real world as basis for software solution. Okay, a class is a group of similar object. Okay, a method is program procedure that is defined as part of a class and it is available to any object is instantiate from that class. So basically, um, uh, an object, okay, can be, for example, a door or car, a person in real life, or in conceptual entity. We can call it as account and transaction. Okay, um, so a class can contain within a similar object. Okay, so a similar object can be grouped as a single class, and the method is a program procedure that define as part of the class itself. Okay, so it can be instantiate uh, within your program. Okay, from a software design and implementation perspective. Okay, an object is an instance of a class. Okay, so I mentioned you before, an object is basically as instance of a class. Okay, by instantiation of that class, like you do the example with your lab 1 exercise, you call a scanner class. Okay, you declare it as scanner input. Okay, you name it as input. Okay, equals to new scanner. That is how you instantiate a class. Okay, okay, and you declare an object. Okay, object instantiation. Sorry, it's basically the name is object instantiation. Class is generalized description of an object which define all attribute and represent the function or operation of an object. Okay, so when you a class, okay, when you look at the class, later on throughout the semester, you will understand better on this. Okay, if you look it at the class, okay, you can see the general description of the object, what method are available in the class, right? What are the attributes, or what are some of the methods that are available in the class that you can use, right? Okay, and an attribute is a data value held by an object in a class. So as I mentioned before, okay, attribute of the class is a data value, or um, the for example, the what are the class variable that are available, right? That holds data value, right? So An operation is specific of a function performed by an object. An object has one or more operation. The operation manipulate the value of the attribute maintained by the object. So operation may have input and output parameter. So basically operation is the method itself. Okay, the method in Java. So usually method will accept a value, okay, and it will return a uh, output parameter or return a value. So if you remember in the scanner class, okay, when we declare equals to new scanner in bracket system dot in, right? System dot in. So system dot in is actually a parameter that or parameter value that we feed into the method of the scanner. Okay, so input parameter and also will return an output parameter. Okay, okay, class in Java, right? So I guess you already know, since we already done lab 1 exercise, we have the class, okay, the basic class. Then this is the attribute that we are talking about earlier. Okay, the attribute of the class. Then you have all the method, right? So you have a human class. In human, they have an attribute. For example, they have name, they have age, okay, they have height and eye color, right? Okay, by default, all human are human, right? But human also have a behavior of they can speak, they can eat, they can walk, right? So speak, eat, walk is basically a behavior of a human, right? So it is the method or behavior of a human. Okay, makes sense, right? So yeah, okay, so but we need a way to able to create the actual human object from this specification class. In Java, we use special method called constructor, okay, to initiate an object. Constructor has no return type and it has the exact same name as the class name. So remember I asked you and with some of you guys in class, ever heard of constructor? Okay, so this is constructor, right? So the method in the class that has same name as the class name, right? So this it calls a constructor. Okay, so constructor has no return type and he has exact same name as the class name. Okay, so if you in your class, if you don't have a constructor, it will not be able to instantiate in other class. Basically, you cannot call this class because there is no constructor method in the class. Okay. However, the constructor may not have the definite explicitity. As in example, because it comes by default for all classes in which a constructor is not defined. Okay. So basically, you cannot. So by in theory, you cannot call the class if you did not declare a constructor or if your class did not have the constructor. But in modern Java or modern programming, okay, modern programming, it says that constructor may have not be defined explicitly, okay, as in example, because it comes by default for all classes. Okay, so the programming nowadays is smart enough to include a default constructor by default, right? So if you even you don't specify the constructor, you still can instantiate the class because of in back all classes come with a default constructor. Okay, it needs to be defined if there are input parameter for the constructor. So if you need to specify uh, input parameter for the constructor, okay, uh, you need to define the constructor, right? So notice that the default constructor will have no parameter except in it. So you can see in the bracket, there's no input that it will accept. Okay, so remember this. You have constructor without parameter, okay, and constructor with parameter. Okay, later on you will understand better on this. There will be a terms called method overloading and method overriding. Okay, this is basically a constructor behavior. Okay. Okay, so this is basically how the program works. Okay, so variable Tom over here, okay, refers to where actual object reside in memory, or the address of the location. Okay, garbage collection will remove any object that are not used in the heap. So when you run a program, okay, it will define everything. Okay, if you define this, assign all the value. But when the program is terminated, okay, the garbage collection will remove all the objects that are not in use in heap, right? So this is just a basic theory on how the program works in the backend. Okay, how the Java compiler work or Java JDE works. Okay, so this is some of the example. So remember that we have the human class in here, right? Uh, you have a human attribute, name, age, height, eye color, and you have default constructor, which is you can assign a value to a, um, if the user did not specify the value for human, right? By default, this class will have the default value of age equals to 5, eye color equals to brown, height equals to 72, and name equals to Tom, right? So this is how you call the human class in here, okay, in others class, okay? So imagine that human class over here is a scanner, right? So this is how you call it in other class. So remember, we use scanner input as a variable equals to new scanner, right? So same goes with this example. Okay, human, and you name a human variable. Okay, give it a human variable or a variable. Notice that in these three example over here, it has a different uh, name. Okay, all these human on the left hand side will have the same name because we're calling a actual class of human, right? Notice the capital letter. Okay, so this is how you instantiate the object of the class. Okay, so you call it human. Human one equals to new human. Okay, when you call this human class in this earth class, you can use method, okay, that are coming from a human class, right? So notice in this main class, oh, I'm sorry, main method, there there's no speak method, right? There's no speak method defined or any others method being defined in this class or method. But you can call this speak method that is coming from the other class of human. Okay, notice over here, it has public void speak, right? Okay, so far, any question?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Um,
Which part?
because you said the human, there's human one, human two, human three, and then if it becomes a new variable, there will be the new human, right?
New human. What do you
Yes.
mean?
And then will it become redundant to each other?
No, no, not exactly. So you're saying that you instantiate this class many times, right? You have human
Yes,
one,
yes.
two, three. Then it could be redundant, right? You are using the same thing, right? You might
Ah,
use the same thing. So in this example, you might think that is the case, can be a case, but in real world scenario, when you are doing a huge program, you will always see one class is being called multiple time in main method, right? Because that one class can hold 30 or 40 lines of method, right? So each method you will might want to call with different variable so that it will suit to what task you want to do with the method, right? So
ah,
it is actually not redundant. It is the way of object-oriented works, right? So that you can use it. You create it once and you can use it multiple times. So that's the idea of it. Okay.
I see. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other question? All good? Good or no good? We'll see
All
you
good,
in.
sir.
We'll see you lab your lab session. Okay. Then you'll see you good or not good. Okay. So that's it for today. Okay. So lab exercise we do it in the lab. Okay. I want to see you guys start doing object-oriented programming. Uh, Maybe you need to create a class with another class. Maybe 3 or 4 class that will be inherits or and I want you to see you use like for example like this example over here. Okay, you define a class that will be used in another class, right? Okay, so that will be your lab session for next week. So we're going to do a lab exercise. Okay, we'll see which lab exercise that we're going to do. Not necessarily this one. I'll see how it goes later on. Okay. Other than that, no more question. If there's no more question, I think that's it for today. And for those who don't get a chance to get your attendance, please do so. For those who already take your attendance, you can dismiss this class. Thank you very much. See you